Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Kareem George. I'm the principal of Culture Traveler, and this evening we are live with my colleague Bonnie Raschka from Chubb. How are you, Bonnie?
I am great, Kareem. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, indeed. I'm so thankful that the day before these big holidays that you've taken some time to talk to us. And travel insurance is always a topic that people have lots of questions about. So I want to jump right in and maybe have you start just by telling us a bit about yourself and a bit about Chubb.
Okay. Well, as Kareem mentioned, I'm Bonnie Raschka. I'm Vice President, Head of Leisure Travel for Chubb's U.S. Leisure Travel Insurance. Believe it or not, I'm nearing 24 years in the travel insurance business. This is all I've ever done in my entire career. I'm also a very frequent world traveler. I have actually traveled to every state in the US, and I've also traveled to 67 countries throughout my career.
Amazing.
Absolutely. And I really enjoy the travel industry. It's great to be partnered with Culture Traveler. It's an honor to be participating and supporting all of our travel advisors. And Kareem, thank you so much. We value our relationship and appreciate this opportunity to discuss travel insurance today.
Oh, thank you so much, Bonnie. So tell us a bit about the history of Chubb.
Well, believe it or not, a lot of people don't realize that Chubb has been in business for over 225 years.
I had no idea. Wow.
And it's got an unbelievable amount of history. But ultimately today we're in 54 different countries and territories. But a lot of things about Chubb is I like to look at our strategy. And when people think of insurance, they generally think about natural disasters, accidents, tons of large documents with small type and print. But at Chubb, we really think about insurance differently. For us, insurance is all about craftsmanship. It's making sure what we do, who we are, that we are really looking to molding the travel insurance and designing the travel insurance to make it easier for the traveler to understand travel insurance, make it easier for them to recognize from one product to the next that when you're looking at that policy wording, they actually have consistency in the covered reasons, the exclusions, so that clients are only really needing to decide which amount of coverage do I need, not necessarily what's behind the scenes on the product, because we're really trying to make it easier for the travel community to not have to worry about all the stuff behind and that fine print, to keep it as simplified as possible and keep some consistency in how we handle our products. But ultimately, that's what allows us to service our customers. It allows us to settle our claims fairly and promptly. It allows us to answer their questions quickly, because even though we have 3 different variations of single trip plans and 3 different variations of annual plans, the content behind the scenes of covered reasons, exclusions, and time restrictions are the same on all of them. So it makes it a lot easier for a customer just to look at, as I say, judge a book by its cover, is how much am I insured for medical and emergency medical while I'm traveling, not necessarily what is actually behind the scenes on the product. So Chubb is a worldwide organization. They're one of the largest in property casualty around the world. A lot of customers may not recognize us by name because we do not offer our products direct to consumer. These products are currently only available through travel advisors. So customers that are looking for these products will need to look toward their travel advisor to get a quote on the Chubb products.
Great, great. Thank you so much for that background. It's so helpful. And let's jump into the hard question, the question du jour. Why is travel insurance important? And maybe you could also tell us very high level some of the things that we should be looking for when we're reviewing policies.
Well, one of the things I like to start out with is travel insurance policies vary. They vary across the industry. It depends on how you get your travel insurance policy. So it's really important for customers to consider travel insurance when they're traveling, whether they're traveling domestic or if they're traveling international. Because a lot of people are booking those vacations 60, 90, 180 days before they're planning their vacation, and you never know what's going to happen. Every travel supplier in the industry, airlines, cruise lines, tour operators, all have published cancellation penalties, and you just don't know what to expect. It's important to be prepared to expect the unexpected. So
Sure.
that if you have the travel insurance, people can encounter travel delays, medical situations while they're traveling, an unexpected last minute. This family member just got in a traffic accident. They're in the hospital. It's critical. You can't go on vacation in 2 days. You were ready to go. You didn't think anything would stop you. Or what if you get on your trip and you get that dreadful phone call that my dad's 70 years old, was in great health, just had a heart attack. I need to get home right now. Those are the types of reasons that people need to consider travel insurance and to be prepared. So I'm going to give you some examples. I've traveled the world and I have experienced travel insurance and what I sell. Personally, when me and my husband were on a cruise, he got in a severe migraine. And we ended up at the cruise ship doctor in having to get treatment, and having the travel insurance being able to pay for all those medical costs. But believe it or not, just 2 years ago when I was in Belize, it was raining and I fell down the stairs because the resort marble steps, just a quick slip. It was raining. I didn't catch it and I fell down the stairs. And I ended up having to go to the hospital for x-rays to find out if I broke my arm, what type of damage I did. But most of the time, because I travel traditionally 85% of the time, I encounter travel delays, airline delays, overnights that I didn't expect trying to get to my destination. But all of those things are all encompassing in a travel insurance policy. So what do you look for in the policy? When you look at your policy wording, they range between 30 and 40 pages. I always say, look for 3 specific things. Great. 1 is look for what are the covered reasons under trip cancellation, trip interruption, and trip delay coverage. 2, look for the definitions in the policy. So I'm going to give you an example. Perfect. When we say we provide coverage for sickness, injury, death of the traveler, the traveling companion, and the family member, in that policy wording, family member is capitalized because that means there's a definition in the policy. And the definition in our policies for family member is everybody except cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephew, foster family, adopted family. Everybody's included, but no cousins. And I'll just give you a little thing to keep in mind about Bonnie is I have the largest family in the United States. My great grandmother had 25 children and 5 sets of twins.
Oh my gosh.
So I have a lot of family out there, a lot of family out there.
Wow.
The third thing you look for in a travel insurance policy, and it doesn't matter which company it's with, every policy out there has general exclusions, things that are not covered. Mm-hmm. So it's really important for people to look for what are the covered reasons, what are the definitions associated with the covered reasons, and what are the exclusions and what's not covered under the policy. Every policy out there allows you a certain amount of time, and our policies gives you 2 weeks from when you purchase the policy to read the entire policy. And if it doesn't meet your needs, call us for any questions. That's what we're here for and our team is here for. And then you can always cancel it within that first 15 days of purchase if the policy is not going to meet your needs. But those are the 3 core things I would look for in a policy.
Great. That's so helpful to really know how to drill down and prioritize what's important. Mm-hmm. Could you share some of the things that maybe typically are not covered in a policy, just very high level for us?
So some of the things that are not covered on a policy, and these do vary once again by travel insurance company, but ultimately on the Chubb policies, we do not provide coverage for things like mountaineering where you need specialized equipment. So if you're planning on climbing the exterior of Mount Everest and you need the specialized picks, axes, crampons, hooks, guides, that is not a covered activity on our policy. We do not traditionally, we don't cover on our policies war, active war, or participating in a civil disorder or riot. We don't cover for air travel on a special supported device such as hang gliding, skydiving, hot air balloon rides. Some companies out there do have that coverage depending on the policy, but our policies at this time do not. Our policies traditionally don't cover for mental illness or nervous or psychological disorder. Mm-hmm. But the number one thing to keep in mind is how is pre-existing medical conditions handled on the travel insurance policy. There is always generally an exclusion on the policy, but our policies do allow that pre-existing medical conditions to be waived. If you purchase within 15 or 21 days of initial trip payment, you insure all your trip costs. And at the time you buy your policy, you are medically able to travel on that day. So those are kind of the stipulations, but keep in mind and pay attention to the pre-existing exclusion and what the waiver is associated with the travel insurance policy.
Got it. Thank you so much. So for those of you just tuning in, I'm here with my colleague Bonnie Raschka from Chubb. She's the Vice President and Head of Leisure Sales, and she's done a great job of giving us a background of Chubb, telling us what to look for in policies, telling us what typically is not included in policies. Bonnie, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, how has COVID played into all of this?
Specifically for the Chubb U.S. leisure travel policies, COVID-19 is treated as any other medical condition. It does not provide coverage for a healthy traveler needing to quarantine or voluntarily comply with government orders. It is really something that a traveler gets diagnosed with a medical condition. And I do want to point out that that diagnosis has to be validated by a medical professional. So they can't just take their own test and send in those results. They would have to have, in order for it to fall under the sickness coverage before travel or during travel, it would need to be documented by a medical professional.
Great, great, super. Well, Bonnie, this has been a really informative chat, and it's gone by so quickly. I thank you again for taking the time to speak with us right before the holidays when travel is top of mind. We're all looking forward to 2021, and some of us are traveling end of year. So thank you again. And for those of you who have questions and are putting in questions, please know that we will answer them. So we're going to record those questions, and then Bonnie and I will review and be getting back to all of you. So again, thanks for tuning in. Bonnie, happy holidays to you.
Oh, and to all of you as well. I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season. I'm looking forward to the new year and what 2021 is going to bring. I know a lot of people are looking forward to traveling again, and we look forward to our partnership, Kareem, and any questions or anything you need, all you got to do is reach out to our customer service center.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Bonnie, and good night, everyone. Happy holidays.